Alright, so the first Reform UK, Nigel Farage corruption, we're going to cover it in this video today, is a pretty big one. So, this was broken by the Daily Mail, surprisingly of all people, because, let's be real, see when we were talking about anything right wing, I'm not expecting the Daily Mail to help you out, are you? So, anyway, joking obviously. So, let's get straight into it. So, the Daily Mail reported that, they broke the story and reported that Nigel Farage's party was given a £200,000 donation by a church warden named John Richard Simpson. Now, this wasn't a normal donation. They reported that it was broken down into many chunks, so it wouldn't get any parliamentary scrutiny, which is a really such a shady thing to do. You know what I mean? So they broke it down to chunks, and JRS John Richard Simpson didn't give it himself either. So basically, the UK is a very corrupt country. All right. But we do have some semblance of anti-corruption laws, so that you can't just like give a party foreign money. However, this JRS guy, he doesn't live in the UK. Like all patriots, he lives in Dubai. So what does he do? So he owns a company in the UK called Interior Architecture Landscape Limited. Now, interestingly, and I wish I was joking, this company owes the UK £200,000 in tax. Like this company, so this guy can afford to pay Nigel Farage a £200,000 donation on behalf of some really suspicious people. We'll get into that after this, but so he can give that money to Nigel Farage, but he can't pay the British people his fair share in tax. But think about it, that £200,000 could have funded the council. Like obviously it's not going to a council, but it could have funded it's meant to fund our NHS, meant to fund social programs, and he's just not doing it. So obviously that's pretty corrupt, and it's just a bit comically evil, if you know what I mean. Alright, so the outlet also reports that the church warden works for, and I'm quoting here by the way, this is me quoting, secretive Kazakhstani billionaires. So oligarchs, he works for oligarchs. Now the Financial Times also followed up, well they didn't follow up on this one, but they already reported on these two people, so we know what their names are. So the Financial Times breaks that their names are Sarsan Gidemi and his wife Jasmine Gidemi. Now I can't really say that properly, so obviously I'll just put that on screen for you right there. And again, that was reported by the Financial Times. However, the Left Foot Forward, a very progressive outlet, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with any type of outlet. There is something wrong with corruption though. So the Left Foot Forward, they pointed out that the church warden, JRS, is a director of a Dubai-based firm called Oracle. Now, are we joking around here? The patriotism party about UK First is being funded by a guy who works for Kazakhstani oligarchs who pays taxes to Dubai. What are we doing here? But that's not even the big thing. The company this guy directs has historic ties to sanctioned IRGC oil giant Astan Quadrazari. Wow. So, let's just break down this first corruption. So, Nigel Farage's company, because it's no party, it's a company, Reform UK Limited, gets a £200,000 donation, which is broken up into chunks, so it's not investigated by Parliament, or not scrutinised much. And the guy who donated it works for Kazakhstani oligarchs and is director of a company which has ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's only the beginning of the corruption. Okay, so the second Reform UK corruption is not to do with Farage himself, but to do with his second in command, Richard Tice. So little Richard, really pathetic guy, really unlikable guy in my opinion. Not because of his policies, again, I don't really care, but because he's corrupt. So let's get straight into it. So, Fiona Cotterill, mother of convicted felon George Cotterill, he was convicted in the United States for wire fraud back in 2016. So that's his mum. And she donated 2 chunks of £250,000 in May 2024 to Reform UK. Now the big deal about this is it's being investigated by the police, because the story is, we don't know like where she got that money from. It's being like it can't be tracked. So this was reported by the Times, by the way. This is the outlet which reported it, and basically, we just don't know where the money come from. Does it come from her, the felon, someone else? We don't know. So, and the specific offence which the police is investigating, according to the Times, is evading restriction on donations, Section 21, ERA 2000 or ERA 2000. This has also been confirmed by the BBC News and LBC Radio News. So, that's pretty corrupt, but that's not where the corruption ends. Oh, no. Tice, Little Richard, he does not know the anti-corruption and scandals, but mainly corruption. So, now, there's also corruption with this personal company, which is a really comical name. It's called Britain Means Business Limited. Now, this company donated £500,000 to Reform. Now, you've probably never heard this company. I've never heard this company. So where did they get that £500,000 from? So, Fiona, the mother of the felon, also donated £1 million. Well, gave £1 million to the company. Not the Reform UK company, his literal personal company. And this literal personal company of his gave Reform UK, the party company, £500,000. The Guardian broke this story July 8th to 9th, 2026. Now, this basically happened because bankers had filed suspicious activity reports which are called SAR to the National Crime Agency regarding the $1 million to Tice's company. They cited bankers and NCA. That's who the Guardian cited. So basically, what the two corruptions regarding this Tice corruption is Fiona Cottrell gave Reform UK. She gave Reform UK money, which is under police investigation because we don't know where that money's come from, and she also gave Tice £1 million, and bankers filed suspicious behaviour because they don't know where that money's come from. It's not looking good. However, that's not the only Tice corruption. It was also reported by another suspicious SAR regarding an £80,000 loan from the felon himself, George Cottrell, yes, the criminal, to Tice's another company called Tissoon Investments, used to buy property. Now, that's pretty suspicious because remember, a line Nigel Farage and his cronies, his goons, like the parrot, is that George Cottrell has nothing to do with the party. Now, for a guy which has nothing to do with the party, why is he giving the party second-in-command loans? Why is Tice not getting a loan to the Bank of England? Corrupt. Now, another thing I want to get into is just like how stupid these people are. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. See, there's this guy on YouTube called Robeshire, and he has this really good definition. That you can be intelligent, but you can also have no wisdom. I don't even know why I brought that up, because these guys are not intelligent. So basically, I'm done talking, just play this clip. You won't believe it.
Do you know the source of that money?
Yes, it was donated to the company by Fiona Cottrell, and that is that. She's a permissible donor, and she donated to the party, and that's the end of it.
Was there any due diligence done on where Fiona Cottrell had got that money from?
I've known the Cottrell family. My family have known the Cottrell family and the broader Hesketh family for 50 years. A very successful aristocratic family, and that's as far as I'm concerned, she's a permissible donor, and that's the end of it. And this is a politically...
Obviously, that clip's been played. Like, can you see the insanity in that clip? Like, he's gone on like some radio show or whatever to like try and like do a PR operation to clear his name because obviously he's very corrupt, and then he goes and says that, and by the way, Reform are the anti-establishment party, and like he goes and says, oh yes, well, they're a very aristocratic family, my family, and then like there's some like Merida's father talking about families. Like, what's going on? I just can't. Like, was he around to anti-establishment aristocrats? Like, this is insane. Jesus Christ, we are such a corrupt country. Like, the party topping the polls is admitted to being funded by aristocrats and people. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, alright? Reform voters, they are very valid, alright? I understand them completely. But this is the establishment. They are the new establishment. Alright, so third Nigel Farage corruption. This one's pretty big. I titled this in my notes, Undeclared Gifts from the Felon. So, obviously, in 2016, Posh George, as he's called, was arrested and convicted in the United States of America for wire fraud. Now, obviously, you kind of don't want the party to be topping the polls, to be associated with a guy who wrote a book on how to commit fraud and is convicted for fraud. That'd be a bit bad, wouldn't it? So, let's get right into it. So, July 2026, this was exposed by The Guardian. They do a very good job, to be fair. Like, I cite them a lot. They broke that, but it wasn't The Guardian alone this time, it was also the Sunday Times. So The Guardian and the Sunday Times found the felon, George Cotterill, gave Nigel Farage multiple gifts leading up to the 2024 election. Now, just stick with me, alright? So, he gave Farage an expensive accommodation near Buckingham Palace. And this was, according to reports, the primary HQ of Reform UK during that election. The criminal also paid for 3 Reform UK media staff members to handle social media and paid them for him on his behalf. He paid for private security. Now. This will come back in like the first £5 million scandal we all know and hate, which broke the camel's back regarding all these like scandals and corruptions. But just know, George Cotterill, at the same time, apparently the 5 million was used for security, already paid for Farage's elite security. So he paid for that security, and reports indicate he also covered the cost of Farage, like Oz expenses, and he funded private trips to the USA and Belgium. Now, if that wasn't mental enough, like, get this. According to the Daily Mail, the Guardian, and the Metro, and they spoke to Reform UK insiders, allegedly Posh George called Nigel Farage daddy. What is going on? Like, what is going on? Like, this can't be real. Like, what do you mean he's calling him daddy? Like, oh, daddy's home for me. Like, oh my god. Just, like, any Reform UK voters, just, what do you think of this? And by the way, what makes this actually corrupt? Because, like, you could say, yeah, hey Daniel, that's really corrupt, right? But it's no illegal. Wrong. He's under parliamentary investigations because, other than the 2 private trips to the USA and Belgium, he did not declare any of it, which he was supposed to do because he was running to be an MP. And even he's meant to declare it. Like, even if he didn't have to declare it, it's so obviously corrupt. Again, appealing to the Reform voters. Like, I know you think like the establishment is out to get Farage. I understand that, right? But he is the establishment. Just look at this. A convicted felon is calling him daddy and showering him with gifts. Like, what is this behaviour? Okay, so we've covered a lot of corruption here. But let's take a break from corruption and go, this is less of corruption, but just more of stupidity. Like, these guys are not intelligent. I know they might seem intelligent. I promise you, they are not intelligent. You and I are better political operators than they are. I'm being so for real. So let's get straight into this scandal. So, in October 2025, Tice said that the Siren Association have a £46 million government contract to train the police of Lebanon. Obviously, Lebanon is very complicated. There's obviously Hezbollah controlled Lebanon, which is a state within the state. It's really complicated. Obviously, Hezbollah is also a prescribed terror org in the UK. Oh, by the way, I'm not supporting Hezbollah, right? No, no. Don't do that here. Don't want to break any laws because this country doesn't do free speech, does it? What a joke. But I don't support Hezbollah. So, anyway, I'm being serious about that. In October 2025, Tice said the Sirens Association, who has, like I said, had a £46 million government contract, he said it was a waste of taxpayer money, which is well in his rights to say. But he also said that the police they train have ties to Hezbollah. And obviously, they're a prescribed org. So that is very, very serious. The Siren Siren Association gave him multiple chances to apologise. He did not apologise because he's stupid or has an ego or didn't think they would do it. So now they're suing him. This was confirmed by Tice on the 2nd of July 2026, where Tice revealed to the Parliament he's being sued. And he just found out recently. Sources for this are The Telegraph and The National. Not The National Scotland, The National Dubai. The inferior National. Alright, the fifth Nigel Farage corruption scandal. This one has the worst implications, but I'll just clear it up right here. I don't think it's true.
We've discovered 5 million quid went to Farage in 2024. I am obliged to disclose the million quid, which I believe went to Farage in late 2022 as well. And that smacks to me of a deal. The 2019 general election was sewn up between Nigel Farage, Christopher Harborne, and Boris Johnson. And it was a monetary deal.
Because you got to look at the source of information, all right? I hate Farage. Again, not because of policies. Not because of policies, all right? I might support him for all you guys know. But because he's corrupt. Now let's get straight into it. So, again, I don't think this one's true. So, Ben Habib, he's a Pakistani British man. Just like me. Except I do think I'm more Scottish if you ask me, but whatever. Habib alleges that Christopher Harborne, the Thai crypto billionaire, paid Farage 1 million and Boris Johnson 1 million, so Brexit party candidates would stand down in Tory areas to no split the Brexit vote. So he's essentially alleging that they rigged the election. That's what he's suggesting. Farage says it's not true and says Habib is lying and that he has 2 weeks to sue. No, Habib has 2 weeks or Farage will sue. It's been a month, Farage has not sued, and Habib's been mocking him. However, I don't think it's anything to do with... I'll give my personal opinion here, just because I don't want anyone to panic and think, holy shit, the election got rigged. I don't think that's what happened here. I think the only reason Farage hasn't sued is not because it's true, Habib's clearly just salty. It's because the discovery process would unveil other corruption he doesn't want out yet. So it's to cover up other corruption, in my opinion, not because this one's true. I don't think this is true. I thought it'd be interesting to put in here, because, if it's true, which I don't think it is, but if it's true, then the implications of that. But again, I don't even think it's true, to be honest, so it's nothing to worry about. However, the sixth corruption, oh boy, oh girl, oh boy, that is the one which we need to pay the most attention to. Alright, let's get straight into the sixth and biggest corruption. This is the first corruption which kind of broke the dam. It's been a floodgate of corruption after this original one. So this is easily the biggest. And in late April 2026, an investigation by The Guardian revealed that Nigel Farage in 2024, shortly before Farage announced he would stand as an MP, was given 5 million by Thai-based billionaire Christopher Harborne, which he did not declare. This is now under parliamentary investigations to see if this is illegal or not. I think it is illegal. So Farage then claimed that it was for his lifetime security. However, there's flaws with that. As we discovered with the third corruption we covered, that was already being covered by his criminal friend. So that's just clearly a lie. However, let's go with that. So we, the public, said, alright Farage, show us receipts. And then Farage was like, oh no, they want receipts. I can't show receipts, I'm lying. So then he went on The Sun, a very friendly newspaper, and just changed the story, just like that, and said I was just a political gift for getting Brexit done. As a Scottish person, that pisses me off because we voted against Brexit, but whatever. So he changed the story because he had no receipts. So then we, the public, said, all right, Farage, show us receipts. What'd you spend it on? And by the way, during this time, he's gone into complete hiding. Like, he's been in hiding for a while now. He's not facing the media. He's still in hiding. He's been out a few times, but he's mainly been in hiding. Now, back on it. Sorry. So back on it. So then he went on LBC radio and said that, I think it was LBC, but it could be the BBC as well. He said that he could, no, I think it was BBC actually. Sorry, BBC. I'll play this clip in a second. When we demanded receipts, he crashed out on the lady. And when she asked him that the public's demanding receipts, he crashed out on the lady. And it's very bizarre. Just play the clip. Go.
You've said that £5 million was for lifelong security for you. You've also said it was a gift. Can you just clarify?
No. Let's be clear.
For?
Let's be clear. It's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on cars if I want to. It's entirely up to me, right? But there is a specific reason for this. I have been physically the most attacked and endangered politician in Britain for now well over a decade. At every stage during that time, when I've asked the state to help and support, most times they point blank refused. I know, because of the division in politics, that I will need protection until the day that I die. And that is my intention. That is what it's for. And it means, frankly, I can get on with my job and not worry about the long term. So,
Mr. Farage, how much of that money have you spent?
Look, it's literally none of your business. If I've given it to charity, but the truth is, I haven't. I know what it's there for.
You haven't spent any of it?
It's none of your business. It's literally none of your... How much of your salary do you spend on beer, on petrol? It's none of your business.
I think it is the public's business to know...
No, it's not the public's business.
Well, it's being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Committee, so it's somebody's business.
Let
You're
them
saying you need
investigate it.
security, a legitimate point.
Yeah.
How much of that money have you spent on security so far?
I'm sorry. I know I'm not going to answer that deliberately, willfully.
Do you wish that you had declared this money at the time?
It is not your business at the BBC to put me in danger, therefore I will not answer that.
I would just like to clarify, do not make any mistake, we are not putting you in any danger at all.
If I answer that question you ask, so I won't.
So, but you have already said that you haven't spent it.
Fine. Leave it at that then.
Do you wish you declared it at the time?
No.
All right, and here's another clip. This one's by LBC Radio.
It's you and I speaking. This man needs to tell us what has he done with the £5 million. Get him to be truthful. Nigel Farage, please. What has happened to this £5 million gift?
With all due respect, what's it got to do with you?
Well, because it speaks to the position you hold in office. Initially, we were told that it was because of your personal security and it would pay for that for the rest of your life. Then apparently it was some kind of reward for campaigning for Brexit. I am told we have two different stories. Which is the truth?
Well, I think you're contradicting yourself there, aren't you?
Well, if you tell me what happened with the £5 million, then we're solved.
It's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on Ferraris if I want.
All right, so now that's been played. Who does this guy think he is, by the way? Like, I can spend it on sports cars or Ferraris. Like, what a arrogant man. Like, this isn't an establishment stitch-up. Like, to Reform supporters, I'm not mocking you. You guys have every right to be mad at the UK. I'm mad at the UK. But this guy's not the solution. I mean, look at the way he's talking to you guys. I can spend it on race cars or horses, or whatever he said, Ferraris or horses. The level of contempt he has for the British public is insane. However, even worse, recently, The Guardian also exposed that a Reform insider told The Guardian that in 2024, Farage said to stand as an MP, he would need to be paid £1 million a year. And then we all know what happened. Then Harborne gave him $5 million. I mean, again, just Not even talking about the corruption implications. The arrogance of this man to think he needs to be paid $1 million a year to serve the British people. Who does he think he is? Like, the people of Clacton don't, like, he doesn't want to serve the people of Clacton. He just wants $1 million. The nerve of this man. And again, pay reform voters. This is not your guy. Like, this is not him. He is a corrupt establishment career politician who is greedy, greedy, and greedy. He doesn't care about you, doesn't care about me, doesn't care about the UK. The minute this blows up in his face, he's going to go let Liz Truss and flee to America to do right-wing bullshit. Again, Reform UK are know your friends. And again, this isn't about the policies. Alright? I'm not going to show my opinions of the policies. I might hate them, I might support them. But the corruption is overwhelming. Like, look at it. Just look at it. It's everywhere. One after the other. It's no stopping. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Another scandal of Reform UK I want to cut up. Whoa. Sorry. Another scandal of Reform UK I want to cover. So there's this propagandist called Isabel Oakeshott. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if that's not how you say it. And she posted on Twitter, and I'm quoting, by the way, "A woman in a burqa has been given a, quote, British Citizen Award for empowering young women. What an absolute joke. Accept it's real. The shame of it." Now, this propagandist really is pissing me off, alright? She lives in Dubai! Bro, there's women there who are looking like me right now, and she's choosing to live there. She comes on Talk TV, online, no in person, to spread the propaganda. She's like wife of Tice or whatever, his girlfriend, something to do with Tice, and is living in Dubai, but has the brass neck to live in a foreign country and bash and try and dictate what women dress as. It's ridiculous. Even if you're against Islam, this lady isn't against Islam. She loves Islam. She's in Dubai. Again, reform voters, just think about it. The chief propagandist is like bashing Muslim British women while she herself is in a Muslim country. This doesn't compute. If you hate Islam, you better live in the UK then. If you're a patriot, you'd be living in the UK then. I'm a patriot. I'm in Scotland. Farage is not a patriot because he's always in the USA, never in Clacton, never in Parliament do his job. And this propagandist lady is in Dubai. Just the sheer amount of corruption. Like, the corruption, it's never ending. The scandals are never ending. That's not even covering, like, how the councillors are racist. Like, that's not even... Oh. Yeah, why are so many racists attracted to Reform UK? That's a question. Why is Reform UK attracting the worst people? Why do they have so many corruption stories? And it's like, why is every attack a media smear campaign rather than taking responsibility? Just think about that. Like, this country's very corrupt, alright? Every party's corrupt. Well, not every party, but the establishment parties are corrupt. And Reform UK, I'm sorry to say, it may be a new party by date. Well, it's not even new because it's just the old Brexit party. But all it is, it's the same establishment corruption, but worse. Because Farage's greed knows absolutely no end. And that's the end of the video. Cheers for watching. If you're a Reform voter and I change your mind, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So, thank you. I'm smiling, by the way.